Giant fun planners with stickers and washi tape are all the rage, and they have eked over into the world of homeschool planners as well. Well, I'm all about a pretty planner, but even more importantly, my planner has to work for me and help keep me organized as a homeschool mom. So I'm here today with 7 things I keep in my homeschool planner. Washi tape? Optional. Hi everyone, I'm Pam Barnhill and I help homeschool moms find freedom and flexibility in homeschool planning. What? You don't think planning and freedom and flexibility go together? Well, I'm here to show you that they do, so be sure to hit subscribe down below or the little bell to be notified whenever we have new videos go live. Okay, so you have a homeschool planner. I keep mine in a 3-ring binder. It's a notebook that I use and I print out all my pages and put them in there. And what do you keep in this magical teacher notebook, this homeschool notebook of yours? Well, I have 7 things that I think are vitally important to keep in mind along with all of the other things that I keep in there. The first thing that I keep in there is my homeschool vision. This is a vision statement that I have written, and it's all about what I would like education to look like in my homeschool. What is the atmosphere of our homeschool? What kind of things do we prioritize? What are the things that we spend the most time on? And what are the things that my husband and I really would like for our kids to know and accomplish before they leave our home? All of those things go on my homeschool vision, and I print it out and I put it in that homeschool planner. And then a few times during the year, I review that vision and have a look at it again and make sure that we're staying on track. I especially review that vision before I make large homeschooling purchases or before I completely change my homeschool, because I want to be sure that the decisions that I'm making align with that vision that we have for school in our home, and they're not just a knee-jerk reaction to a homeschool day gone bad. The second thing I like to keep in my homeschool planner are goals for each one of my kids. So at the beginning of a school year, I sit down and I think about the things that the kids need to focus on for this year. Sometimes they need to focus on something because it's a place where they need a little extra help. Other times we want to focus on something because it's an area where they have a great interest or they're showing a special talent. And so I write these things up as goals for my student. I have 3 kids and we can't focus on everything equally all the time. There are times where we have to spend a little more time working on math, or we have to spend a little more time working on composition. And so by having goals for those things, we're able to give each thing a little extra attention as it needs it. And so I write these down at the beginning of the year or the beginning of a term. I keep them in my binder and I periodically look at those to make sure that we're making the progress that we would like to make. Now, a lot of times moms have questions about things like, how many goals should I put in there? Well, we suggest 3 to 5, or can we include things like personal skills or social skills or learning to tie your shoes in your goals? And the answer is yes. I never remember to teach my kids to tie their shoes until I make a goal about it. So put those things on there as well. The third thing I like to keep in my homeschool binder is a copy of the requirements that my state has for homeschoolers. I keep that there so I can refer back to it if I need to. Now in my state, they're pretty simple requirements and other states have more stringent ones, but by keeping a copy there, I have it in case someone tries to tell me something different. I can always refer back to it and say, oh no, this is what we need to do here. I have a copy of the requirements right here in my binder. So I keep it handy. It keeps me from having to go online and look it up. I don't use it very often, but I have it just in case I want to refer to it. The next thing I keep in the binder is a copy of my legal paperwork for homeschooling. Now, once again, this is going to vary from state to state. I happen to have an enrollment form for my umbrella school that I homeschool under here in my home state of Alabama. In different states, you might have a letter of intent or some other form that you've submitted to a board of education. I keep a copy of that right there in my teacher binder, and I do it for a couple of reasons. If I ever needed it, and the likelihood that I would ever need it is very slim, but if I ever did need it, I wouldn't have to fumble for it or go looking for it or be searching for it through my email for it. I would just very efficiently, very competently be able to open up that binder and say, here it is right here. That makes me feel really good as a homeschooling mom. The other thing you can use this for are discounts. A lot of times when you go into a bookstore or a teacher store, they give discounts to homeschoolers, and all you have to do is prove that you're a homeschooler, and that piece of paperwork is what I use to do that. And so it's nice to keep it handy. All right, item number 5 that I keep in my homeschool planner is a procedure list. Now, I'll drop a link to another video I have here on YouTube about how to make that procedure list, but very simply, it's a list of things that I want to do when I study particular subjects. I don't make them for every subject that we study, but I do it for the ones that aren't open and go, or the ones where I've kind of put together my own study from a set of resources. Having these procedure lists really helps eliminate decision fatigue in my homeschool. If we're studying something like Story of the World or Song School Spanish, and I'm like, what are we doing today? I flip to my procedure list and it tells me the next thing to do for us to do a lesson in that particular subject. I absolutely love these. They keep me from having to think too hard in the day-to-day of homeschooling my kids with multiple kids, the dogs, the doorbell ringing, the washing machine flooding, and all the things that go on in your home. So I keep a few different procedure lists in my homeschool binder. The next thing I keep in there is a schedule for my school year. Now, there's any number of different ways that you can schedule your homeschool year, but I like to kind of mark down a number of different holidays that I know we want to take, when we're going to be on vacation, and I keep track of how many days we've homeschooled. Now, some homeschoolers do term homeschooling where they're homeschooling so many weeks on and so many weeks off at any given time. Other homeschoolers school 4 days a week, but I like planning out my days ahead of time. One of the reasons that I do this is because we always are gung-ho at the beginning of the school year, and we get way more days done then than we do at the end of the year. And so I've come to know that about us, and I plan for it. And it helps me to remember in September and October, keep on keeping on and bank in those school days, because in March and April, you're going to want to have them in your back pocket. Okay. Final thing, number 7 that I like to keep in my homeschool binder is an attendance tracker. Every day I mark attendance, and I use a particular form for this that is actually available from my website, an attendance tracker form. But honestly, any calendar would do. So if you have a planner with just a calendar in there and you want to have some kind of little symbol that you put in the corner of every day that you do school, you can do that to keep track of your attendance. Most states have some kind of attendance requirement for homeschoolers, and most states want you to keep track of that attendance even if you never turn it in. I actually never turn this in my state, but I do keep track of it because I'm legally bound to keep track of it, and I would have to produce it if someone ever asked me to produce it. Having said that, we humans are learning all the time. So just because we don't sit down at a table and fill out pages or write every day, it doesn't mean that we're not learning. So there are all sorts of life experiences and things that you could do that you could count as a school day. So be sure to count those life experiences and those other things as well. School is not just what you do when you're sitting at a desk or sitting at the kitchen table. But do keep track so you can be in compliance with any laws that are in your state. So there you have it. Those are 7 things that I keep in my homeschool planner or my teacher binder. So let me know what I left out. What very important things do you keep in your homeschool planner that I didn't talk about today? Put them down in the comments so we can learn from each other. And if you have any questions, you can put those below as well. Thanks, and come join us again next time. Be sure to hit subscribe so you'll know when we go live.